Good day, Aloysian Gems. Welcome back to General Biology to Lecture. This is your mom, Jeremy Sagario, your lecturer for the week 6 topic. Last week, you have learned about the structural organization between plants and animals, which allows you to understand their similarities and differences. In connection to your learnings, this lecture video is focused on the plant and animal, nutrient acquisition and processing, and gas exchange. This lecture video is divided into two parts. The first part is all about the acquisition of nutrients by plants and animals. For the first part, these are the following objectives to be achieved at the end of the session. First, enumerate the structures or organs involved in nutrient procurement and processing in plants and animals. Second is to describe the functions of structures or organs involved in nutrient procurement and processing. And lastly is to explain how food is processed in a mammalian digestive system. Your digestive system is uniquely constructed to do its job of turning your food into the nutrients and energy you need to survive. And when it's done with that, it handily packages your solid waste or stool for disposal when you have a bowel movement. The digestive system is the way that our bodies get energy from the food we eat. It works to break down food into smaller molecules that can pass into the circulatory or lymphatic systems and provide us with energy, help our bodies grow, and help our bodies heal themselves. Foods are being processed into four stages. First is ingestion, the act of eating or feeding. This is coupled with the mechanical breakdown of food into smaller pieces, allowing for a greater surface area for chemical digestion. Second is digestion. It is the breakdown of food into particles, then into nutrient molecules. Third is absorption, the passage of digested nutrients and fluid across the tube wall and into the body fluids. The cells uptake or take up small molecules such as amino acids and simple sugars. Fourth, elimination, which is the expulsion of the undigested and unabsorbed materials from the end of the gut. To survive, we need to take nutrients from the food that we eat. This is achieved by digestion, a complicated process that takes place in our gut. Although food contains all the nutrients we need for good health, they are locked up in large complex compounds. So that they can be used by the body, they must first be broken into smaller parts by the process of digestion. There are two kinds of digestion, mechanical and chemical. Mechanical digestion involves physically breaking the food into smaller pieces. Mechanical digestion begins in the mouth as the food is chewed. Chemical digestion involves breaking down the food into simpler nutrients that can be used by the cells. Chemical digestion begins in the mouth when food mixes with saliva. Why food must be masticated or chewed before swallowed? There are actually two reasons behind that question. First is to increase surface area for enzymes to act quickly, and second is easier to manipulate by tongue to form a bolus. What types of digestion are occurring in the image? Post your answer in your respective group chat. The two main components of digestive system are the alimentary tract and the accessory organs. Alimentary tract or alimentary canal consists of the mouth, pharynx, esophagus, stomach, small and large intestines, rectum, and anus. And this tract is also called as gastrointestinal tract or GI tract. The accessory organs are the salivary glands, liver, gallbladder, and pancreas. The tongue and teeth are accessory structures and assist in ingestion and mechanical digestion. Digestion begins even before the food enters the mouth. The mouth consists of prehensile organs such as the lips and tongue that helps move the food into it. The mouth allows us to have the sense of taste for us to decide whether to accept or reject the food. In the mouth, mastication or chewing of food happens by mechanical digestion because the teeth mechanically break down food into small pieces. Take note that during the mastication of food, saliva is added to chemically digest the indigested food. Once chewing or mastication and amylase digestion are complete, the food will have or will become a small round blob which is known as bolus. Next, we proceed with the anatomy of the mouth. First, we have the labia or the lips, which is responsible in protecting the anterior opening of the mouth. Second, we have the hard palate that forms the anterior roof of the mouth. Next, we have the soft palate, which forms the posterior roof of the mouth. And next, we have the uvula, which is a fleshy projection of the soft palate. Next, we have the vestibule, which is actually a space between lips externally and teeth and gums internally. We have also the oral cavity or the area contained by the teeth, and also the inclusion of the tongue that is attached to the hyoid and styloid processes of the skull. And last part, we have the tonsils. We have the palatine tonsil and the lingual tonsil. The smell, or even the thought of food, starts the production of saliva by the salivary glands with a pH of 7 to 8. Once the food is inside the mouth, it is moistened by the saliva as the saliva lubricates the food for easier movement, and the teeth and tongue begin the process of mechanical digestion. Saliva contains mucus, water, sodium hydrogen carbonate, and salivary amylase. This secreted fluid initiates enzymatic digestion, such as the presence of salivary amylase that breaks down carbohydrates and salivary lipase that breaks down lipids. Fun fact to remember, humans produce about 1.5 liter of saliva a day. 3 pairs of salivary glands located above the upper jaw and below the lower jaw. We have the parotid glands, the submandibular glands, and the sublingual glands. Swallowing forces the chewed food through a tubular entrance called pharynx. Pharynx is divided into three locations. Nasopharynx, which is not part of the digestive system. Oropharynx, the posterior to oral cavity. Laryngopharynx, below the oropharynx and connected to the esophagus. Pharynx serves as a passageway for food and air. As food is swallowed, a flap-like valve, the epiglottis, closes over the trachea or windpipe to prevent food entering the windpipe and cause choking. After pharynx, we have the esophagus that connects the pharynx with the stomach. The esophagus is a muscular tube that is approximately 20 centimeters long. It takes food from the throat and pushes it down through the neck and into the stomach. Contractions of the esophagus push the food through a sphincter and into the stomach. The digestive system moves food along by the way of peristalsis, a wave-like contraction of a smooth involuntary muscle. The bolus enters the stomach through a muscular valve at the top called cardiac sphincter. This sphincter controls how much food enters the stomach and when. Food stays for 2 to 6 hours in the stomach. The stomach takes around this number of hours to do its job on the food depending on what kinds of food are digested. The stomach has thick muscles in its wall. These contract to smash the food into a water soup called chyme, a creamy liquid leaving the stomach. The stomach lining produces strong digestive juices. Gastric glands secrete gastric juices or digestive juices. Gastric juice contains hydrochloric acid that kills bacteria taken in with the food, pepsin that breaks proteins into polypeptides, and renin, an enzyme found in the stomach of the young children. After 1 to 2 hours in the stomach, the food is a thick paste referred to as chyme. It leaves the stomach through the pyloric sphincter at the bottom of the stomach. Question: what is the pH level of the stomach? Pause your answer in your respective GC. Once the chyme leaves the stomach through the pyloric sphincter, it goes to the small intestines. Small intestines are the body's major digestive organ because it is the primary site for enzymatic digestion and nutrient absorption, wherein nutrients from the food pass into the bloodstream through the small intestine walls. Nearly 7 meters in length, the small intestine is folded and curled around a small area in the abdominal cavity. The inside surface of the intestine are covered with projections called villi. These finger-like structures are again covered in smaller projections called microvilli and work to absorb food molecules that have been broken down by the processes of chemical digestion. The small intestine has 3 distinct parts: the duodenum, the jejunum, and the ileum. Each day, about 9 liters of fluid enters the duodenum. Most chemical digestion takes place in the duodenum by chemicals secreted by the liver, pancreas, and small intestine. The other two sections of the small intestine, the jejunum and the ileum, absorb food molecules by way of the villi directly into the bloodstream. Take note that there are two functions of the small intestine. First, digestion is completed, and second, digested food is absorbed. The absorptive surface area of the small intestine is about 250 square meters. The walls of the small intestine make digestive juices, or enzymes, that work together with enzymes from the liver and pancreas to do this. The one that receives the leftover from chemical digestion that is basically nutrient-free is the large intestine. It is also called the colon or the large bowel. The large intestine is 1.5 meters or 5 feet in length. Although it is shorter than the small intestine, it is thicker in diameter. The largest bacterial ecosystem in the human body is in the large intestine. The large intestine houses over 700 species of bacteria that perform a variety of functions. The colon absorbs vitamins created by the colonic bacteria. Other bacteria that inhabit the large intestine can further digest some material, creating gas. The large intestine takes about 16 hours to finish the remaining processes of digestive system. Within the colon, digestion is retained long enough to allow fermentation via gut bacteria that break down some of the substances that remain after processing in the small intestine. The large intestine does not participate in digestion of food. The function of the large intestine or large bowel is to absorb water from the remaining indigestible food matter and then to pass the useless waste material from the body. The colon helps to absorb a small volume of water from the lumen, which is 400 milliliters per day. An organ that sits at the junction of the small intestine and large intestine is the appendix. It is a thin tube about 4 inches long. The function of the appendix is unknown. One theory is that the appendix acts as storehouse of good bacteria. Other experts believe that the appendix is just a useless remnant from our evolutionary past. Surgical removal of the appendix causes no observable health problems. Any waste left over that the body cannot use is moved to the rectum and excreted through the anus during defecation. This may occur multiple times in a single day or once every few days. The rectum is a muscular tube about 13 centimeters long that is at the end of the large intestine or colon. The rectum connects the colon to the anus, which is the opening where stool exits the body. The anus have two important parts. The first one is the internal anal sphincter, which is a thin white muscle wrapped around the anal canal. The internal sphincter contracts during rest and sleep and keeps small amounts of liquid and gas from escaping unexpectedly. The internal anal sphincter is an involuntary smooth muscle like the muscles of your intestines, wherein you cannot mentally control it. The second one is the external anal sphincter, which is a thick red voluntary muscle. It is wrapped around the internal anal sphincter muscle. It is the one you squeeze when you feel the urge to go to the bathroom. Since it is a voluntary muscle, like the muscles in your arms and legs, you can control it. When food waste reaches the anus, it begins collecting in the flexible rectum. When enough waste has collected, a person will feel the need to go to the bathroom. Once the person is seated on the toilet, the anal sphincter should relax and allow the anal canal to empty. When the waste has been released from the canal, the anal sphincter should restrict and remain in that condition until the process needs to occur again. Now, let us proceed with the different accessory organs during digestion process. So accessory organs of digestion are organs that secrete substances needed for the chemical digestion of food, but through which food does not actually pass as it is digested. Take note, these organs secrete or store substances that are needed for digestion in the first part of the small intestine, the duodenum, which most chemical digestion takes place. The first accessory organ is the liver. The liver is actually the heaviest internal organ and the largest gland in the human body. The liver is the largest gland in the body, weighing about 3 pounds in an adult. The liver is a vital organ located in the upper right part of the abdomen. It lies just below the diaphragm to the right of the stomach. The liver is connected to two large blood vessels, the hepatic artery and the portal vein. The hepatic artery carries oxygen-rich blood from the aorta, whereas the portal vein carries blood that is rich in digested nutrients from the GI tract and waste filtered from the blood by the spleen. The main digestive function of the liver is the production of bile. Bile is a yellowish-brown fluid that aids chemical digestion by emulsifying fats in the duodenum. If bile is needed to digest a meal, it goes directly to the duodenum through the common bile duct. In the duodenum, the bile neutralizes acidic chyme from the stomach and emulsifies fat globules into smaller particles that are easier to digest chemically by the enzyme lipase. The second one is the gallbladder. In terms of structure, it is about 8 centimeters long and shaped like a tapered sock with the open end continuous with the cystic duct. It stores and concentrates bile from the liver until it is needed in the duodenum to help digest lipids. The gallbladder may store between 30 to 60 ml of bile. The bile is not immediately needed for digestion. It flows up the cystic duct to the gallbladder. The last accessory organ is called the pancreas. This glandular organ is both part of digestive system and endocrine system. Pancreas is about 15 centimeters long and it has two major ducts, the main pancreatic duct and the accessory pancreatic duct. The pancreas secretes pancreatic juice, which is a mixture of digestive enzymes, water, buffers such as bicarbonates, and electrolytes which are produced by acinar and epithelial cells. The pancreatic digestive enzymes includes amylase, which helps to digest starch and other carbohydrates, trypsin and chymotrypsin, which help to digest proteins, lipase, which helps to digest lipids, and deoxyribonucleases and ribonucleases, which help to digest nucleic acids. As an endocrine gland, the pancreas secretes several hormones, including insulin and glucagon, which circulate in the blood. In a nutshell, digestion is as complex as it is important. To transfer food into useful components involves multiple organs and systems, a range of chemicals, and impressive coordination. The road from burger to poop is a long and winding one. Thank you for listening and have a good day.